Make a request about something you want. I've got a library of messages in my head.
I have a request for money.
I want to stop being a mother to my own mother.
A relationship request. If they had been born, I wouldn't be.
How long can we keep fighting this world?
I thought I could make things right.
I don't want to feel guilty anymore.
How do you feel?
It's letting up.
I'm better. Thank you.
You're watching Method. This is a show without a script, because the script comes from the audience. In the dressing room, I was thinking about what I should talk about, what themes I should address, what would come up. I was picking between the topics of karma and unborn siblings. And I chose that karma is more interesting after all, so we'll see how it works out. Thank you. You're happy. That's a good sign. Well done, everyone. All right, let's get this show started. To keep things interesting, I was thinking, what should we talk about today? I'll show my hand early. Today we will be talking on the karma topic. Oh, yes. It's a very interesting topic, but to show you something, I will need a volunteer. How about you? Yes, yes. Do you want to go? No? Wow, but it's interesting. Come on, come in. Go on, come in, you two.
Race you to be the first to sit down.
Stop. Okay, be quiet. Sit down. Let's just get down to business right away. This seems obvious enough. Say, I acknowledge and accept.
I acknowledge and accept
All my unborn siblings.
Unborn siblings.
And I'm giving them space.
And I'm giving them space.
I embrace that experience.
I embrace that experience.
At exactly the price.
At exactly the price.
At which I got it.
At which I got it.
Okay. Meet your sister. The one you bring with you everywhere you go. In order to manifest herself in some way and pull herself to you. She takes the form of girlfriends, your men's lovers.
Maybe we shouldn't?
Say, I don't know yet, this way. Takes the form of girlfriends, your men's lovers, and all other kinds of fusion. Say, I acknowledge and accept.
I acknowledge and accept
my unborn twin sister.
Twin sister.
And I give her space.
And I give her the space.
I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
that I have a sister.
That I have a sister.
That I didn't know about.
That I didn't know about. Yulia, how do you do it?
And I give it space.
I give her space.
What do you mean, how do I do it? I'm just using my eyes. I call out to this woman, but someone else comes in out of nowhere and takes the seat in her place. You see, you'd have to be either blind or stupid not to see it. This isn't some kind of magic, you know? When I called you, something clicked in her head, and she actually thought I called her. You know, to show me where to take you. And that's when it doesn't matter if she asks a question or not. I only need her to come up on stage. That's it. And that's where it starts to unfold beautifully.
It's just that my mom, who has now sadly passed away, but I know that before I was born and after my older sister was born, Mother had a miscarriage.
Twins, right? Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
that I'm living the fate of these twins,
that I'm living the fate of these twins,
and I'm giving them space.
and I'm giving them space.
What do you think?
My heart feels like it's going to jump out of my chest.
How do you feel?
I'm shaking all over. Me too.
But it's your story as well. If you think you're here just for her, you're wrong. You're the same as her. One and the same. And you've got a born one in there somewhere too, maybe, or an unborn one. And if you pretend that your step-siblings on your father's side count, they do not. It's somewhere far away. It's not true. They will come barging into your life as lovers, rivals, so that someone will have to make a choice. They will keep taking your seat. They will creep into your life in every way possible to say, "Hi, I'm here. You can't see me, but I'm right here." You will keep attracting men who will only see you as a sister, nothing more. And they will always be in your field until you legalize them, manifest them. And it turns out that in your life, all your energy is actually sucked into that hole and keeps telling you, "Look, there it is." And you go, "Nope, I'm off to fulfill myself. Nope, I'm off. That doesn't count. I'm just going to go build a relationship." Everyone counts as a sibling to you. Dad or mom. Accidental and not. From people you meet at parties, from relatives, incestuous, doesn't matter. Everyone counts as a sibling to you. It's just that the human brain likes to follow patterns and say that a father is someone who raised you, a brother is someone who was always there for you. No, it's the one your dad or your mom gave life to, or both. You people are funny.
You too.
All right, let's take it a little further, shall we?
Is there something intimate you want me to tell you?
No, of course not. You don't need to do that. I mean, I suggest you work on the phrases a little bit more. You can generally keep dragging her along.
No. I'm ready to part ways.
Part ways, right. Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all those in my family
all those in my family
and in my reincarnations
and in my reincarnations
who kept away their sibling, and I give it space.
and I give it space. Oh God,
I embrace that experience
I embrace that experience
at exactly the price
at exactly the price
at which I got it. I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all my reincarnations who were a sultan and killed their siblings for the throne, and I give it space. I embrace that experience at exactly the price that I paid for it. And it seems that my system has a setting that the best brother is a dead brother, and I give it space. How do you feel?
I'm like a hot air balloon, like I'm about to take off. That's how I feel. So much air in my chest, it's like it doesn't fit.
I acknowledge and accept all my reincarnations in the Gemini constellation, and I give it space. Say, on an extraterrestrial level, I attract twins to me.
I attract twins to me.
And I attract their experience.
And I attract their experience.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Here, stand next to me. I want you to see it. They really are like twins. How could I pick someone like that from the room? It really does look like they're sisters. They're so similar. You know, I'm always surprised. I know this already, but it's still a surprise to me. As I look at you, I just keep being surprised. Thanks, girls. You sit down, and we'll move on to you. I want to show you with these examples that there is no dialogue, not a single superfluous element. Yeah, it's interesting. You even sit diagonally across, and it really looks like I'm looking at you. There's nothing excessive, and she revealed your big story now. And your big stories too, by the way. Who kept away their step-siblings or cousins?
I myself did that, to be honest.
We're done with you. Anyone else? We're done with you. Anyone else? Did someone keep them away? So it's a common story, isn't it? What do you want?
I just want to say that I did have a brother on my father's side, that is, from his first marriage. But he passed away last year, sadly.
So the best brother is a dead brother, right?
It just worked out that way, like in a movie script, but...
Interesting, isn't it? How it comes around like that?
I mean, we were never particularly close, never talked much, and I didn't have that kind of feeling for him. But it was only later, when I grew up, that I recognized that he was my own brother, that he was my blood. But we still never got that close to each other. That's just amazing.
Amazing how you can read any one person. How easy it is and how much of it is on the surface, really. All you have to do is look closely. Open your eyes and look closely. And observe, compare, contrast. Analyze. All right, let's continue on the karma topic. What is your request about life? Or something pressing right now?
Probably a realization topic of mine, because at the moment I don't work anywhere and you could say I don't do anything, but it's just that I'm studying at the moment and I have no income, so I'm living off my spouse.
Do you want it?
Yes.
Why?
I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm a woman. I want to be fulfilled, to have some sort of manifestation. I want to give something to this world and have some kind of positive experience.
Well, I've got some great news for you. The request for manifestation has already been fulfilled. You're on stage in a beautiful video. People see you. And there it is. That's what manifestation is.
Turns out it's pretty simple.
How else? Look, it's a dream for some people to be on the stage, to manifest like this, to be seen. Mom, I'm on the TV, you know? Your request for manifestation has been fulfilled. That's it. You have everything you asked for.
On a regular basis?
The stakes are rising, huh? What do you want?
I want to make money through my manifestation.
Give her money. Someone toss her 100 rubles and she'll be fine.
No, not 100. I mean, you don't have to toss me anything. I mean, I want to earn good money and then use that money to do simple things. Traveling, letting myself do some spontaneous shopping, for example.
And my husband doesn't make much money.
Well, not enough for me.
What do you want? Does anyone understand what she wants? I really don't get what you want. You have your manifestation. Money. Well, you have money. What do you want?
I wouldn't exactly say that I have money. Well, I mean, yes, I am not starving. I have a roof over my head, but I want to earn this money myself and be able to cover some basic needs and just to make my loved ones happy. For example, to give them gifts, some pleasantries.
Why?
I don't know,
No, wait, look. There's a world. It's created perfectly. You say, "Dear world, give me money so I can give someone a gift." I believe, world, that you are extremely greedy and don't give enough gifts to those I want. Would you please be kind enough to give me the resources to correct their fate? I want gifts. What do you want?
What a cool question. Don't even have an answer for it. I have an entire house of councils in my head where one personality constantly tries to interrupt another, starts pushing. No, say this instead.
Yeah, I get you. I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all my unborn siblings.
Unborn siblings.
It's hard for me to make up my mind
It's hard for me to make up my
on
mind
what I should do,
on what I should do,
on what I want.
on what I want.
I should grow up,
I should grow up,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
Say, and it seems
And it seems
that I'm 3 years old,
that I'm 3 years old,
no older,
no older,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
How do you feel?
A little,
Right?
yeah. Something like that.
Shall we move on? Say, and it seems
And it seems
that I might not have been born,
that I might not have been born,
and I give it space.
and I give it space. I'm getting this scenario again with unborn twins, because if they had been born, I wouldn't have been.
And it turns out that one way or another, as this story plays out, in order for me to live, someone else must die. It's either me or someone else. Hunger Games, you know? Notice this story. Twins. If they lived, you wouldn't be here, would you? But on the karmic layer, you're a sultan. Who's been to Turkey, Istanbul? They have the Sultan's palace there. And the tour guide tells the story that the Fatiha law was introduced there in some century. Fatiha law, where the Sultan comes first. He had a wife and a harem and bore many heirs. There had to have been many boys and girls, mostly boys, so that they could be heirs. But in order to make sure no one claims the throne later, once someone ascends it, they kill everyone else. The one who makes it is the one who does the killing, like a sperm cell that made it, and the rest don't count. It's the same thing, but at the country level. And there the guide told us straight that in such and such century, under such and such sultan, 19 coffins were brought out of that gate. The Sultan's brothers. Then it's at the karmic level, and then the ancestral level. At the current life level, it shows up that there are twins there, either them or me. At the ancestral level, 7 generations before you, or 1,000 generations before you. Trust me, it was the same story before. Let's say the phrase, I acknowledge and accept.
I acknowledge and accept.
All those stories are in my lineage.
All those stories are in my lineage.
When by accident or on purpose,
whether by accident or on purpose.
There was fratricide,
There was fratricide,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
I embrace that experience.
I embrace that experience
at exactly the price
at exactly the price
at which I got it,
at which I got it,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
That's a script too, right? It manifests on all layers. At the ancestral level, it's when the two brothers quarrel. Two brothers don't share something. Inheritance, for example. I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all those in my family
all those in my family
who was unfair
who was unfair
in splitting the inheritance,
in splitting the inheritance,
and I'm giving them space.
and I'm giving them space.
I embrace that experience
I embrace that experience
at exactly the price
at exactly the price
at which I got it.
at which I got it.
Each of you has your own stories surfacing now. You remember those who divided the inheritance unfairly. When someone was underpaid, judged awarded, when someone refused. At the level of karma, it's also fratricide, but usually for the throne, inheritance, or something else. At the universal level, myths and legends, Cain and Abel, brother killing his brother. Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
that I follow the script
that I follow the script
of Cain and Abel,
of Cain and Abel,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
I embrace that experience
I embrace that experience
at exactly the price
at exactly the price
at which I got it.
at which I got it.
Pay attention to how your body reacts, and if you start yawning or crying, and you think, no, I don't have any siblings, this is not for me. I'm here just to watch. This show looked interesting. You sit there and start crying or yawning, or some process starts, or you get strong feelings. Someone can get hysterical realizing these things. On an extraterrestrial level, it's the Gemini constellation, where those twin brothers are reflected in the sky. They have their own mythology. So this script, I've got some great news for you. You're not the first. It's how they've lived millions of times before you, how they live right now. And you're not the first or the last to have this story in your family. How do you feel?
I'm still in shock, to be honest. But I'm also feeling some kind of lightness that clearly wasn't in my request when I came here. But it turned out to be so accurate and profound.
Thank you.
I don't know what to say. Thank you.
There is another bug like this in the internal system. You think that you wouldn't have been born? You think you have this assumption in your head that there was some second script, where if they had survived, it would have been different somehow.
I used to have lots of fantasies about this as a kid, by the way. And I always put myself not in a way that I wasn't born, but like I was born, but I'm older than my current age, and I have a twin. And when I looked in the mirror, it was like I was talking.
So it's a very profound story.
I just remembered that now. I was very young, probably second, third, or fourth grade. That's about the age I was. And I speak upon thee thusly. I am imagining a picture of myself, sitting in front of a mirror, talking as if to my little sister, and as if I were older than my age. So it's like I'm them.
Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
your choice of souls,
your choice of souls,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
Say, God,
God,
for so many years,
for so many years,
I have been in denial
I have been in denial
with their choices,
with their choices,
with your choice,
with your choice,
and I've wasted so much effort.
I'm so sorry.
And I've wasted so much effort
And I've wasted so much effort
in arguing with you, Lord.
in arguing with you, Lord.
I thought I could make things right.
I thought I could make things right.
I thought there was a mistake.
I thought there was a mistake.
I thought you were mistaken, Lord.
I thought you were mistaken, Lord.
And that I need to make things right.
And that I need to make things right.
But it seems that to fix all of this, I decided with my life, by laying down my life, to write their fate. And I give it space. The stakes are high. To disagree and argue with God comes at a very high price. The very life of man. No resources will ever be enough to argue with the world and with the Lord. You will never have enough energy for it. So we come into agreement again, right? There are no other options. There is no option to disagree. It's kind of there, but the price tag is far too much to consider. You can try, of course you can try, and many people do. But you know you could wear your legs down to your knees on the asphalt trying to argue with that. It's impossible. How do you feel?
It's so empty inside. It's like there was a heavy burden pulled out of me.
Well, you did spend your whole life carrying them.
The paradox is that I didn't even come close to realizing that's what it was all about. The gist of it.
Yes.
And I had no such request in theory. I always thought, God, I want money. I want fulfillment. I want a job I love. I want a good relationship. I want fun parties. Stuff like that. I was out of line with the partying. I'm not in that category. So, in general. And that's where this subject comes up, which I guess I really repressed so that it didn't bother me.
It's good that you're telling it because it's not just you. It's like that for everyone. So let's imagine again that there is a universe, and that this universe has certain regularities, laws of cause and effect. And it's all very logical, obvious, and totally just. And let's say there's a world out there that wants to manifest something to you. You don't ask that, do you? Then how can it manifest it to you if you're not interested in it? It has an interesting way to start manifesting, through an area that the person is interested in. Let's say if social fulfillment is important to you, then you'll lose that social fulfillment and you'll have to start looking. You start looking. First you take a training course, you think, okay, KPIs, percentages, leads, applications. What else? Control, plans, efficiency. You fight the world. And again, it's not working out so well. Something probably does, but it still feels wrong. Then you move on and do therapy. The therapist asks you, what about mom and dad? And you're like, what's that got to do with it? This isn't important. To then eventually get to the point. Maybe it's at step 3, step 5, step 30, but everyone gets to that point. And of course, people probably don't ask about fratricide and the unborn and twins. And they certainly don't ask what those sheiks had going on in Istanbul, do they? Who has time for that? Who's interested in that? But when it suddenly starts to touch the scenarios of your life, that's when the interest is completely different. So it doesn't matter what request you go in with. Any request you make is always a lie. Any request you make is an excuse through which you can come and find out what really matters. Any request you make, it's your brain that's making this request, right? And your brain is what got you into the problem you're in now. It's like it's both the creator of it all, and it's requesting other things from the constructs it's made. And then you open up an incredible, marvelous, wonderful world, and you think, oh my God, what does that have to do with anything? Please bring the Creator back into your life. You've really shut it out. And to the person who has God shut out from their life, it appears that they are the only one who decides everything. I really like how the Master in Margarita tackles this. That scene at Clear Ponds. Many people don't understand the meaning of the scene, and Wolin there represents this kind of devil archetype, and Berlioz proves to him that God doesn't exist. Wolin says, no, what do you mean? If God doesn't exist, then the devil doesn't exist either. So they tell him he doesn't exist. That's ridiculous. Then who made everything if it wasn't man? Wait, if it was man that made everything, then he needed like 100 or more years to do it. And man has one flaw, says Wolin, he is mortal. And what's interesting, they are mortal suddenly. And Anushka has already spilled the oil. So everyone remembers about Anushka and the oil. They remember that, oh, what a coincidence that what Wolin said about the oil, it really happened. And there's this gorgeous monologue that came before the scene about God and the devil. But the part about who made everything, people just don't remember. They look and blindness sets in and they don't see it. Human beings are mortal, and what's interesting, they are mortal suddenly. And that's why they can't plan anything beyond today. Everything else that a person plans and it actually works out, it's just a coincidence. It's like, if I got up at 6 a.m. and go outside and say that because I got up at 6 a.m. and went outside, that's why the sun came up that day. I am so great that it is because I get out at 6 a.m. That's why the sun rises, and reality proves it. There it is, sunshine. It's easy to get mistaken, right? It's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. A person who thinks they can make plans, predict something, predict the baby's sex, when it will be born, what will happen after taking this and that action. That is a person of incredible hubris. This is a person who is sure that just because they got up at 6 a.m., and looked at the sunrise. That's why the sun came up over the horizon. But it simply rises because its time has come, not because that person is up and looking over the horizon. So when you want to predict, plan, control something, there are many people like that here, especially those who are in business. There are many supervisors, people with these character traits. They exclude the creator from the whole process of creation. God. The developer. The one who invented all this. They put on a crown and think, it's all me. All thanks to me. But the world is quick to put things in their proper place. And that usually hurts. And the more deluded a person is about what they have created and what they can influence, and whether they can influence things at all, the more one must climb out of those delusions. Your delusion that you could somehow affect the life or death of the twins cost you by unconsciously denying your destiny, your life. You kind of step your attention out of your life and into theirs. And it's all good there. You don't need to fix anything there. They have their choices. There is a creator, their soul's experience, your parents' experience. And then there's you. I have a terrible revelation for you. You would have been born anyway. And they would have died anyway. Because it's also a plan, a script. And your job is just to agree with it, that's all. And don't make it a point that your life is somehow dependent on their fates. Say, my dear twin brothers.
My dear twin brothers.
You have your own fate.
You have your own fate.
I have my own.
I have my own.
And I accept.
And I accept
Your soul's choice.
your soul's choice
At exactly the price.
at exactly the price
That you paid for it.
that you paid for it.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Say, and there's no point
There's no point
for me to pay double and triple
for me to pay double and triple
for you.
for you.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Do you feel it?
Yes.
It turns out that saying these phrases removes the obligation to carry them with you. And trade fates with them.
It's like I just paid off a multi-million-dollar debt. I feel like I've been in so much debt, and I only now gave it back.
And now you don't owe anything.
And it's like I'm so free and happy.
Yes.
Awesome.
Let's move on.
Let's.
Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
the fates
the fates
and the choices
and the choices
that other people made.
that other people made.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Say, I am not God
I
Almighty.
am not God Almighty.
And I can change none's fate.
And I can change none's fate.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Say, God,
God,
I have a feeling
I have a feeling
that it's all my fault.
that it's all my fault.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
Say, imagine thinking that.
Imagine thinking that.
Pay attention to this sense of what is happening to you, of letting go as you suddenly become innocent of other people's fates. And to do that, it's important to accept and endure them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yulia.
Let us try the Blitz format, short questions. In reality, it doesn't take hours or years or long stories to uncover a person's programming. A phrase or two is enough. Let's do two things. First thing, each of you will make a request about yourselves. What do you want? I have a library in my mind where I read your messages. And the metaphors I'll give will one way or another be the answers to, well, it'll be a back and forth conversation. That's how we'll do it with everyone. That was first. And second, show of hands, who wants to engage with me over the microphone instead of just texting me? All right, 1 second. Go ahead, blue-eyed princess. Oh my, I can already see it.
I knew you would. Hi, Yulia. My name is Polina, and my request is for a relationship.
Why do you need that?
I want one.
Why would a child need a relationship?
To grow up.
It's a father you need then, not a relationship.
I do have a father.
Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
that it's to my advantage
that it's to my advantage
to stay young,
to stay young,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
How do you feel?
I'm better. It's letting up, but I don't feel older.
Say, and it seems
And it seems
that I'm really scared
that I'm really scared
of becoming an adult.
of becoming an adult.
Because in my lineage,
Because in my lineage,
the adults
the adults
are too close to dying,
are too close to dying,
and they don't survive.
and they don't survive.
So I'd rather be a child
So I'd rather be a child
to stave off death,
to stave off death,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
How do you feel?
It's like something deep just sunk in.
What do you want?
I want to live this life, to not be afraid to make mistakes and to act, not just dream.
Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
my extraterrestrial part,
my extraterrestrial part,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
Say, in this world,
In this world,
I am something of a stranger,
I am something of a stranger,
and I'm searching for others like me,
and I'm searching for others like me,
my people.
my people.
I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
my earthly part,
my earthly part,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
Say, there's a war inside me,
There's a war inside me,
my earthly part,
my earthly part,
and my extraterrestrial part.
and my extraterrestrial part.
Want a relationship
Want a relationship
with someone like me,
with someone like me,
but I haven't met a gray alien yet,
but I haven't met a gray alien yet,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
How do you feel?
I feel lighter, calmer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you feel like you want a relationship? But each of us can build a relationship with an equal and with a person of the same species as us. Visually looks like we are more or less the same, 2 arms, 2 legs, and so on. But no, people have different energy ages, 3-year-olds, teenagers, say adults and grandparents. It happens that a woman is in her 30s. She says, I want to build a relationship, but she has a granny living inside her. And only men above 60 pay attention to her, because they are attracted to this granny energy. She says, no, I'm 30 years old. I want to be the same age as you. But there's some 70-year-old professor hitting on her. When you say, I want a relationship, you've got a teddy bear, pink sneakers. You're a lot younger energy-wise from the looks of it. And there's a strong expression of alien design in your clothing. It shows through your clothes and through the words you say. So this jigsaw, these criteria that your match has, like hedgehog to hedgehog or fish to fish, this match doesn't happen, does it? Because you look at it and say, no, what's that? That's a lynx, that's an owl, that's a gingerbread man. Where are my dolphins? I don't get it. And so starts this search, but it becomes possible to achieve a positive result when you accept these parts of yourself. The child, the alien, all others that want to match. Because while they are not accepted, you will still be afraid of not being accepted. I'm a Kiwi, I'm unique. Only through acceptance do we go back into agreement. Only then, having legalized these parts in oneself, it is possible to accept them also in another. Let's say, for example, that you don't accept your extraterrestrial part, and you meet someone who'd be a perfect match for you. He has his otherworldly parts too. And you're like, he's kind of weird, it's not really my thing. And you abscond the heck out of there. Let's move on. Anyone else? I'm seeing less hands. Seems the interest has gone down. Let's do you. What is your name?
Hello, my name is Yulia.
Hi, Yulia.
I want to stop being a mother to my own mother.
Oh, come on. What do you want?
To live my life.
What?
To stop saving my mom.
What do you want?
To stop feeling guilty.
I got news for you. One day your mom will die.
Yes.
You can't escape that. What will be left then?
I don't want to feel guilty anymore.
Towards your mom? Are you going to kill her or something? How do you want to help her? Why do you feel guilty?
She's very sick right now. It's a grave illness.
It'd be like that.
And I can't help her.
Yes.
That hurts her feelings.
The fact that you can't help her? Anyone else familiar with the feeling of guilt? We have a whole assembly of guilty people, you know? Do you know what guilt is? Guilt is incredible hubris. If it's my fault, then I'm the reason it happened. And the sun rises because of me, and my mom is sick because of me. What does it mean? Say, I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
that I have a great conflict
that I have a great conflict
with God,
with God,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
There are millions of scenarios like that where you don't go along with what must be, the way things must be. And you're willing to lay down their bones to fix it. And you feel guilty when you don't succeed. And it's going to be very difficult for some to accept or feel that. Some will say, I don't believe in God. What kind of cult is this? What kind of God is she talking about? Tell me the name. Should I confess or not? And so on. There's plenty of stories out there, too, where people mixed up God, religion, and people who are representatives of religion. These are three different entities. Religion is a government agency, something like that. A certain set of laws and rules, description. God is the one who created everything. And representatives of religions, they're still people. And they poop, if you can imagine. Human beings are both beautiful and ideal, perfect. And perfect in their imperfection. In its otherness and its difference. But at some point in time, your relationship with God was worth too much. So you pushed him out of your life completely and stepped into his shoes. But the weight of the sky on your shoulders proved impossible to bear. Let's say some phrases with you. See what happens. I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all those in my lineage
all those in my lineage
and in my reincarnations
and in my reincarnations
who died
who died
for religion,
for religion,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
I acknowledge and accept
I acknowledge and accept
all those in my lineage
all those in my lineage
and in my reincarnations
and in my reincarnations
who survived,
who survived
thanks to the fact
thanks to the fact
that they defied God,
that they defied God,
and I give it space.
and I give it space.
I embrace that experience
I embrace that experience
at exactly the price
at exactly the price
at which I got it.
at which I got it.
How do you feel? What's your deal?
I had a spinal fracture, now the shoulder, a jab to the shoulder. My arm doesn't function.
You literally held the sky on your back and resisted God so much that you broke your spine. How do you like the price of your choice? Say, God,
God,
I give up,
I give up,
and I accept the world
and I accept the world
the way it is.
the way it is.
I accept the fates of other people
I accept the fates of other people
the way they are.
the way they are,
And I accept
and I accept
my impotence
my impotence
in changing my mother's fate.
in changing my mother's
And I
fate,
give it space.
and I give it space.
Say, Mom,
Mom,
I thank you
I thank you
for giving me life.
for giving me life,
And I don't
and I don't
owe anything
owe anything
for that life.
for that life.
I don't have to pay
I don't have to pay
for the fact that I'm alive.
for the fact that I'm alive.
All I can do
All
I can do
I can do
is to pass that life
is to pass that life
further on
to my children,
and they likewise
and they likewise
don't owe me anything
don't owe me anything
for their life.
for their life.
I got my life
I got my life
free of charge,
free of charge,
and I pass it on
and I pass it on
free of charge.
free of charge.
This debt to your parents for the fact of your life, it has no end and no limit. It can't be repaid. And even if you literally fall in battle, it still won't be enough for just the fact that you're alive. Your task is to accept it and live it, and let others live. How do you feel?
I'm better.
Give up. Give up because you've already endured so much.
I give up.
Thank you. Why are you crying?
Let's go.
You look down. Oh, there we go, like it's a funeral. Not yet, hold on. Mom's alive, it's fine. By the way, humor is a really good way to get through some tough times. Yes, humor therapy is an amazing thing. So you can watch a comedy show, have a laugh, and get a little further down the road. Anyone else? Didn't you have your turn already?
It wasn't enough.
Not enough. Who's had a sewage line burst at their home? What? Just as you signed up, right?
Yes.
All pipes burst, getting ready. Let's do you. What is your name?
Paulina.
Paulina.
I went through the 9th method. For the first time in my life, I actually had money because clients started coming to me. I'm also really jittery right now, even though that's usually not the case for me. I tend to be confident in public at events. I have a request for money. I'm losing energy, and I'm spreading myself very thin. I have a problem with that. I know how to sell. I know how to present myself, but I keep slipping into pitfalls. I have a lot of energy, but I'm spreading myself thin, draining all my energy, and I can't do anything more. I veg out for a few days, and it starts all over again. And I track this cycle. It lasts 20 days at a time. I'm taking on a bunch of projects at once. I have 4 of them going on in parallel. I don't handle. I drain. I have no money. I suffer. That's the cycle I've been in for a few years now since I started working. I'm only 20. I've been doing my own business since I was 16.
And what do you want?
I want to stop surviving. I want to enjoy, create, manifest myself into the world, and basically live for myself.
It doesn't work that way. Because if you live for survival, it becomes a drug for you. You think you want to get out of it. But what you're really doing is you're doing everything you can to keep that adrenaline going that you get from survival. And as long as you stay hooked on it and don't switch to another energy source, I can't help you. It's a cycle. You say this cycle. But if you had a real interest in getting out of this cycle, would you allow the thought that maybe you're wrong somewhere? But you're going back into that cycle for the 2nd, 3rd, 15th, 20th time, and you don't ask yourself questions that perhaps there is something you don't understand. It seems that you have an interest to continue the cycle then. You don't want to exit it.
May I speak? It was after method that I saw this script for what it is. I didn't realize it before. I was just wallowing in it. And for the first time, I had that flow. Just some remnants sucking energy off of me. But that's getting too personal. I've started to address that, too. And I lost a very big project a few days ago, and I shared everything with my loved ones, and they said to me, well, look, even the world is giving you a hint to do your own thing. Some one thing you like. Focus on yourself. Work as a therapist. Do your projects. Develop only yourself. Stop looking at topics. And So I had a request to understand how I could do things differently, because I can't see it from the current perspective, I guess.
Look, to do anything differently, there has to be a big why. For what? A big why that has enough energy in it to keep you motivated to keep going. Some kind of greater meaning. Why do you want to get out of that loop? It's kind of working out for you. What do you want to find there that you don't have here and now?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, I am an artist, first of all, and I really want to show myself to the world, to express my thoughts through what I create, to trigger transformations in people. Because all my work for the last 4 years, it doesn't matter why people come to me. They want sales, they want a sales funnel, but they keep having internal transformations. And I sincerely see the motive and the desire. I get tons of energy when I work with people, when I transform them through something. That's art for me. Everything is a creative process.
Now, if you've been on method, you know what position 0 is. You fall out of it all the time. What you're describing is that there's a lot of energy at first, then you drain. Lots of energy, then you drain. When you have a lot of energy and then drain, you are being given energy to materialize something. But you use it in an unsustainable way for yourself and for others. And that's when you have to tweak yourself a bit to put a stop to what you're creating. You're being given it again, and you go into the same cycle of energy use again. You direct it, but in the wrong way. You want to fix other people's fates too much. You're too caught up in hubris again. And there's that God theme again. No one person will ever have the resources to fix someone else's fate. If you work with people from the position of, I'm going to heal their souls, I'm going to help them live now, something like that, after that contact, you'll be drained.
So, dealing with clients when I'm using the method, I've been able to get into that flow.
Now do the same for everything else in your life.
It's very difficult.
But you understand the principles, so transfer that to the rest of your life. You already have everything.
Thank you.
It's a relationship with God again. Pride and squalor. At first you're immensely proud that everything in this world is done by you or because of you. And then, oh no, I'm a low-life turd, I'm the worst, and so on. And then you think, how do I deal with imposter syndrome? I'm to blame for everything. It's the squalor that you wallow in. Then again, I'm the best. I have 15 degrees and I have titles and regalia. Look. So you have this seesaw of pride, squalor, pride, squalor, pride, squalor. Is that what you called this cycle? At first I have the energy, so I help. Then I'm drained. It's this pride, squalor. It's a relationship with God again. Give up. Give up. And give up more and more each time. You think it's impossible to give up once, like, that's it, I've given up now, everyone go home. Now you'll make that choice every time.
What to do, how to give up.
How to give up? Just accept your powerlessness and helplessness. That you can't do anything, nothing at all. You get caught up in greatness, you become powerless. Yulia was telling me about the spine and the mom. Anyone else? Quickly. Okay, let me talk to you for a second.
My name is Tatiana, and I want to give up too, because I've already lost my son. I've already had cancer. I've already had bankruptcy. How much can I fight this world? I have to do something so that I can give up and be free from this struggle. I'm 68 years old and still struggling.
Repeat after me. I'm guilty of nothing. And I give it space.
And I give it space.
And I did my best.
And I did my best.
With what I had.
With what I had.
If you're alive, it certainly has some meaning. What meaning do you find for yourself now? What is the meaning of life?
Well, it's trivial, the joy of each day. The fact that the sun comes up. It's definitely not because of me, but it's still for me, so I can rejoice in it. Somehow I found 1,900 rubles on my bank card to buy a ticket for this show. And it doesn't matter that I only have 50 rubles left in my pocket right now. It's nothing. The most important thing is that I'm here with you, that I can see you, that I can speak with you.
And thank you. Thank and thank again. Gratitude, in fact, has incredible power. And look, there's this thing about letting yourself be happy. When someone else around you is not so happy, right? About permission. Because we have a habit that if our neighbor is in grief, we can't be happy. We can't celebrate. God forbid something good happens. And it's like there's this taboo and sin attached to the fact that you somehow have it better than someone else. And this shame that I am still alive, happy with 50 rubles in my pocket.
And they're jealous of me.
They're jealous of me, yes. And that's a big thing. It's like a massive slowdown. This is a massive slowdown on your fulfillment. Everyone watching now. Can you afford to have a good life? At the same time, when you go somewhere, either on social media or watching the news, you think, they're suffering from grief. Damn, I'm ashamed I'm not. And it's like it becomes acceptable to grieve, mourn, and suffer a little bit. So that you're not too different from other people, right? Or someone might tell you, why are you celebrating your birthday? There's so much going on in the world. I don't want to hurt anyone who really does suffer from grief, but it's like it doesn't make any sense to multiply that grief. It doesn't mean a lack of compassion and empathy. Empathy is important. But that doesn't mean that absolutely everyone should suffer. People have the right to rejoice, at least in the fact that they are alive. So you can be happy. And you don't have to take the blame for other people's fates. It's too unbearable a burden. You just can't handle it. There are no mistakes in this world. Everything is as it should be. You know, there's a term called survivor guilt. That's just what we were talking about. Survivor guilt. I survived, but my twins didn't. Do I have a right to live then if they are dead? It's the same story here.
I survived, but my son did not.
Yes. Say the phrase, and some part of me.
And some part of me
Berates myself.
berates myself
For the fact that I survived.
for the fact that I survived
While my son did not.
while my son did not.
And I give it space.
And I give it space.
That's right. It can be painful, really painful. But if you're alive, it must have some meaning. This world needs you for something.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's also this thing, a phenomenon called right to live. It's something that one way or another gets brought up. Right to live. Do I have a right to live when my parents' twins died? Do I have a right to live if my son is dead? Do I have a right to live when my neighbor has something bad going on? And then when the psyche is looking for this permission, this right to live, you think, how would you earn it? Maybe make more money or maybe get a title. Now I have the title of a worthy person. Now I'm entitled to this right. If only there wasn't a title of Person of the Year, then yes. Everything all right? There, you good? The body can produce completely different reactions. This way it gives cues and cleans up things. Anyway, any one of you right now deserves the right to live. Deserving in the sense of a process. Without a result, I know I deserve it, but I can't earn it. It's not working out. I feel like I've done everything already. I'm smart and beautiful, or a businessman, family man with children, and I've already done everything on the bucket list. But I still don't have this right to live. I've got some great news for you. If you have a birth certificate, then you have the right to live. If it is easier for your psyche, then refer to your birth certificate like, I have an official state-issued document. I am this person or that person. Born on this or that date in this or that place, and I got my right to live. It doesn't need to be earned. And there will always be others around who don't have that right, even though they have a birth certificate as well. But they don't know this secret yet, that as it turns out, they have it by default. And they will want to earn it through some achievement. And that's where it becomes apparent that you somehow have a right to live and they don't. And the way it works in your psyche is that if someone has something that others don't, it's like competition, that some people threaten the lives of others. There are worthy ones and there are unworthy ones. Worthy of life itself. And then those who have no internal right to life. They will say to you with your birth certificates, what makes you think you have the right to this and that? What right do you have to speak, to make claims? Or what makes you think that you can show yourself off here? What makes you think that you can enjoy life? How come? Show me, pretty please, how did you earn it? No, I earned mine at the penal colony, see? Now your turn, show your scars. You'll say, I have a birth certificate. And they'll reply, what? And you think you deserve it? My point is that those people who discover the right to live, they begin to unconsciously cause great pain to those who have not yet found that right within themselves. And when a person is in pain, they want to sort of level with people, so the other person is in pain too. Yes, when a person is happy, they are happy and want others to be happy. When a person is in pain, they want someone else to be in pain, not just them. And that's when people start hurting each other. Some people have kids, right? And some don't and can't have any. Those who don't, they are in a lot of pain. And then women with pregnant bellies start to just cause irreparable psychological trauma to people who can't have children. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep living your life, right? It doesn't mean you have to give up your default rights. So accept that all people have a right to live. Everyone. Even homeless people. And those you don't like, your rivals, enemies, lovers, whoever. They all have a right to live. And there's no competition. That if someone hadn't been born, then I wouldn't be given life. It doesn't have to be this kind of trade. Everyone born has a right to live. And it can be unbearably difficult for people to endure the very fact of life, to live seemingly basic stories. We haven't even gotten to fulfillment yet. There is still a long way to go before fulfillment, just the basic right to live. How are you feeling? Wait. How do you feel? Crawling? Crawl. On that note, I think I'd like to end the show. So that you could cook in these meanings for a while. The right to live, right to make mistakes. Right to live when someone has already passed on or someone hasn't been born. You all have a right to live. There are no unnecessary people in this world. Everyone is needed for something. Everyone fulfills some purpose. Not everyone's task is pleasant, but you know. Everyone has a right to live. That's it. Thank you.